What's going on? It's time to jump on Shudder and check out one of their, I checked out one of their most recent Shudder exclusives, The Reckoning. The Reckoning. So, yeah. It's a Shudder exclusive, obviously. It was actually released February 5th, 2021, but then they just posted on at least the Canadian Shudder, like 2 weeks ago. So, yeah. It was produced by Daniel Conrad Cooper, Stephen Wild, Esther Turnan, and Michael Marks. It's written by Edward Evers Swindell, and it was also co-written and starring Charlotte Kirk, and it was co-written and directed and edited by Neil Marshall, which is the main reason why I turned it on, because he's done like The Descent, Dog Soldiers, absolute great movie. Doomsday, pretty good, but then his last few ones are terrible, like Hellboy, the reboot, but that's all producer interference and stuff. So I'll talk about that some other day. But yeah, The Reckoning. Reckoning is a story of a woman whose husband dies of the Black Plague, right in the beginning. It's told in flashback form. Of course, you gotta stick with the cliches and not waste so much time. But yeah, and yeah, so the landlord and other people start accusing her of witchcraft, thinking she killed him, not the plague. So she gets taken into custody, I guess you could say, with the lord, the king, and everything. Those are in the dungeon. She gets tortured for about 7 days, and yeah, trying to get her to cause her bluff. And then she's captive. She ends up hallucinating that the devil's taken over her and stuff. And yeah, she's eventually um, taken out for witchcraft. This is apparently based on a true story, which is based on the witch trials back in like the 1700s and stuff. But yeah, yeah, there's not much really to this movie. There's a lot of flaws with this one. Um, so first off, the acting is okay. The story is pretty basic for a witchcraft film. It's a little too basic. You can tell they're trying to make it for a broader audience than just the die-hard horror geeks and everything. And it's one of those films where they're trying to make like a good, strong woman character, which they wrote it pretty well to construct her as that. But everyone else is so cookie cutter basic. This is the problem I have with modern films. Basic. Everything is absolutely watered down to the point where there's no substance. Characters are just, they're there to be bad, they're there to be bad. There's no, oh, he might be good. You might add a little more realism to the character or anything like that. These ones are clearly like, yep, he's one of those guys that's going to accuse her of witchcraft in like 10 minutes. Very predictable, very, um, very bland, not much to the characters, so you don't really care for any of them. Like one of them has like a baby killed, and I was just like, whatever. Like, what's that have to do with the story? Like, they're trying to make you feel empathy and stuff, but it doesn't work. And then, yeah. Oh, and then there's a lot of scenes that like throw you out of the mood. So like when I watch a movie, I want to get immersed in the story and like feel part of it, sort of. You want it so it distracts you from time, makes you experience something weird and odd that you don't really get to experience in real life. So watching this now, this girl, the main character, is getting tortured and all that kind of stuff, accused of witchcraft. But here's the problem: she looks like she walked up on set, just walked out of the hair salon, walked on set every day. There's no banged up, no scars, no thing. Like, yeah, there's scars for like in the moment when they like whip her and stuff like that. But the next day, it's like totally fine. Body's like no scars whatsoever. Continuity is absolutely terrible in this. They were terrible at picking it up. And overall, like throughout, like when she's chained up and like in the scenes, it's just boring and drags and drags and drags. So, yeah, they didn't do a good job at funding that part. There is some good dark night shots and stuff when they're like transporting her to the castle and stuff. You see people a person hang. It's really creepy looking. I like that aesthetic and stuff, like the aesthetic and like this cinematography and like the sets and everything look fantastic in this. But overall, you have bland characters and characters that look like they just came out perfectly fine, just walked on set every day with no like actual believability to like, oh, she's been like emotionally drained and like going through all this hell and looks perfectly fine. It's very makes it very unbelievable. And yeah. So that was one big thing is this film is very unbelievable. It takes you out of the mood all the time and stuff. And like characters are just there to be characters to help progress the plot. No depth or anything like that. Which is the sad thing with modern films these days. No one knows how to write perfect character like good characters or anything like that. It's not like if you look at like Terminator and stuff like that, you feel for like the characters and stuff. And that you move with the characters. That's what makes it a really great story and movie. These days, they just quickly put together all the cliches and stuff, which is most of it's a dream. That's the big cliche. And they tell things in flashback form, which they couldn't just start the movie and then tell it that way. Like, why does it have to be in flashback form all the time? Like, here. And then there's like this is more like a thriller film, not really a horror film, but there's like horror elements. Now there's some cool creature designs with like the demon and devil or whatever accusing her, but she's always just fantasizing it and dreaming about it. It's not actually happening to her. Well, I didn't believe it was actually happening to her one bit. I think it was all in her head, and then but being locked up couldn't do that to you. But still, um, like it looked cool, but it was all a dream cliche, and they overused the cliches a lot. So yeah, The Reckoning is absolutely terrible. One of the biggest waste of times I thought. And Neil Marshall, this is like the third terrible movie he made in a row. So yeah, but I'm always hoping there's going to be another like Descent or Dog Soldiers that he'll get a grasp and put all his like return to his originality to, and make something good again. I think it's just like what he had to work with and stuff. He did the best he could. So yeah, The Reckoning, I'm giving 1.5 out of 5. I wouldn't really bother it unless you're a huge like old period type piece type film person who likes like watching stuff films and stories from like the 1800s and stuff or 1700s. You might find this interesting. If you're a first time like thriller or just get into it, you might find this one a little more suitable to watch. But if you're like a huge cinephile like I am, you're absolutely gonna hate it. So yeah, that's that. There's a trailer link down below if you want to check it out and see what I'm talking about if you're not sure. It's on Shudder. This isn't sponsored by them or anything. I just thought I should voice some of my opinions on it. And also, while you're on if you're on Shudder and you're curious to see what my first reaction was, look for my name with no spaces. That's me. Put my first reaction down. Derek Peterson, no spaces, on Shudder. So yeah, you can see my first reaction review technically on it there too, just for fun if you want to. So yeah, make sure you comment your opinions of this film down below. Let me know what you thought of it. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I always post clips of films I'm going to review in the future on my story that are usually better than this one. Yeah, I usually put the film title in a film clip, the film title and hashtag in the film clip, and the subgenre of film in there. So in case it's something you're not interested in, you don't have to worry about it and whatnot. I do that because just to be nice. So yeah, make sure you follow me on Instagram and stay in the loop. If you have any films that you want, whether on Shudder or any films in general that you want to hear my opinions on in the future, comment those down below. I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can, and if I can find them. Yeah, comment your opinions of this film down below too. I think I probably already said that, but yeah, I'd love to hear what you thought of it. Make sure you like this video, share it so more people are aware of it, and hopefully we can find. Make sure you subscribe, so hopefully we can find some decent gems that most people probably overlook and stuff. Yeah, in the future, hopefully find some interesting ones. So far, Shudder's been putting a lot of duds on there for their exclusives, but they're usually pretty good anyways. There's a lot of good classics on there, so definitely check it out if you haven't been on Shudder. And I guess until the next time, hopefully the witch trials might happen to the films and the film studios, and we actually get good content soon in the future, because I'm getting sick and tired of watching all this basic bullshit. So till the next one, I guess I'll see you in the next review. It's probably going to be an older film where they actually do things interestingly. So till the next one, cheers.